لا شريك له أشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله.
You know to get rid of the yellow box?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, now fading away. Yeah.
Okay.
You're coming back now. I don't know what is that. All right, go on again. All right. All right, you all see my screen, right? That's
Yeah, we're
3.
seeing it. We're seeing it clear.
All right, so Bismillah wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulullah. Last week we went through in detail lesson 3, speaking about 2 students in different classes, and we were introduced, as I said last week, this lesson is introducing a few new concepts in terms of sentence structure and so on, and we see it being applied here in this lesson. Right, as is usual, we're going to read the lesson again. Last week some people got a chance to read it in class, so I'm going to read it again. You all could say after me. This is just to refresh our memories as to what we are dealing with today, and then we'll get straight into the questions after that. All right, before we start, anybody have any questions or comments? So I see in here we have Yahya, Zakaria, Brother Nishon, Imam Farid, Brother Latif, Mickey, Brother Camille, Sheriff, Brother Sheriff, Safia, I think that's Umar, Brother Umar, Sumaya, and Saiba. All right. Good. So if there are no questions, we're going to start. Again, I'm going to read. You all please say after me so you can get the practice of the vocabulary, and then we're going to go straight into the questions. All right. So, Bismillah. Ad-darusu thalithu. Ad-darusu thalithu. Right. Don't forget, when you're dealing with sun letters and moon letters, all right, remember, in the case of sun letters, the outshine the sound of the lam, so it becomes silent. So in this case, you go ad-darusu straight to the tha, so we get ad-darusu thalithu. Ad-darusu thalithu. All right. So we go into the lesson now. Please say after me. Ahmadu kam taliban fi faslikum ya Aliyu. Aliyun fi faslina 14 طالبا. أحمد الطلاب في فصلنا أكثر. فيه 19 طالبا. يا علي ما اسم الطالب الجديد؟ الذي جاء أمس. علي اسمه أسامة. أحمد هو طويل جدا أليس كذلك؟ علي بلى هو طويل جدا ولكن حامدا أطول منه. إنه أطول طالب في فصلنا. ومن أطول طالب في فصلكم؟ أحمد أطول طالب في فصلنا إبراهيم. علي أدفترك هذا يا أحمد؟ إن خطك جميل جدا. ما شاء الله. أحمد شكرا يا علي. خطي جميل. ولا وخطك أجمل. علي من هذا؟ من هذا الفتى الذي معك يا أحمد؟ كأنه أخوك. أحمد نعم هو أخي الشقيق. Right, so I made a mistake here. This word ashaqiq means full brother. Okay, it's not the name of the boy. This is the meaning of this is an adjective, and it means full brother. You know, some people have half brother, step brother, step sibling, and so on. Right, so this is an adjective describing his brother as a full brother, meaning they have the same mother and same father. You know, some people have the same father but different mothers, or and so on, right? So this is an adjective here. So نعم هو أخي الشقيق. He is my full brother, full brother. Okay. علي أكبر منك هو أم أصغر؟ أكبر منك هو أم أصغر؟ أحمد هو أصغر مني. هو أصغر مني. علي في أي مهجع أنت يا أخي؟ أحمد أنا في المهجع الخامس. وهو بعيد جدا. وهو بعيد جدا عن المدرسة. علي أنا في المهجع الثامن. وهو أبعد من مهجعكم. أحمد أيهما أحسن؟ علي المهجع الخامس أحسن. فإن غرفه أوسع ونوافذه أكبر. ومراحيضه أنظف. ومراحيضه أنظف. والسرر التي فيه أجمل. All right, so I think we went through this last week in detail as the different meanings of the different vocabulary, right? So we're going to go straight into the questions here now. As I said last week, comprehensive questions in terms of the understanding of the passage. So first one, أجب على الأسئلة الآتية. واحد، كم طالبا في فصل أحمد؟ Any volunteers for this one? كم طالبا في فصل أحمد؟ All right, you go back here to the passage. You look at the screen. So Ahmad is saying, طلاب في فصلنا أكثر فيه تسعة عشر طالبا. So the answer for the first question, كم طالبا في فصل أحمد فصل أحمد. You'll say فيه أو في فصله تسعة عشر طالبا. تسعة عشر طالبا. Right, you'll see the cursor on the screen. تسعة means 9 and عشرة means 10. So 9 and 10 is 19. So this is how we say numbers from 11 to 20 or 11 to 19, right? This أحد عشر إثنى عشر ثلاثة عشر and so on, right? This case is تسعة عشر. Notice here, as we will see in a little while, that the ending of each of the words, there's two words, what we call murakkab, two words, is a pair of words, right? Each of them end with fatha, single fatha, right? So تسعة عشر طالبا. Second question, 9. كم طالبا في فصل علي. Right, so a reminder here, every time we ask a question using kam, we have to remember the word that comes after it. What's the two things we have to remember the word that comes after it? It has to be what? Singular, dual, or plural? Kam. Huh? Plural. Singular, dual, or plural? Singular, right? Yes. It has to be nominative, accusative, or genitive case. You have it right there. Taliban. Kam Taliban. Alright? So we know it's in the accusative case. And it's indefinite. Alright? So it's always singular and it's always in the accusative case. Whenever we use in kam. So kam Taliban fi fasli Ali. So fi faslihi is what? Ali said fi faslina arba'ata ashara taliban. So in Ali's class there are arba'ata ashara. So arba is what? 4 and ashara is 10. So 4 and 10, 14. So there are 14 students in Ali's class. Alright? ثلاثة. من أطول طالب في فصل أحمد؟ من أطول طالب في فصل أحمد? Any volunteers? It's in the passage. Let's have a look back in the passage.
أطول طالب في فصل أحمد إبراهيم.
نعم. أطول طالب في فصل أحمد, or you could say في فصله إبراهيم. So the tallest student in Ahmad's class is who? Ibrahim. Ibrahim. Or is it Usama? Usama is tall, but he's not the tallest, remember? Remember the question from right. أربعة. ومن أطول طالب في فصل علي? Who is the tallest student in Ali's class? Anybody? If you want to answer this, unmute your mic and answer, inshallah.
في فصله حامد.
Right. نعم. أطول طالب في فصله حامد. نعم. أحسنت. So you get the gist of the passage here. Now, it's 9, number 2. ضع هذه علامة, the correct sign, the tick, أمام الجمل الصحيحة وهذه علامة the X or the wrong sign أمام الجمل التي ليست صحيحة. So basically, the true or false exercise. Whichever statement is true, you put a tick. Whichever statement is false, you put a X. Okay? Now, واحد الطالب الجديد الطالب الجديد الذي جاء أمس اسمه أسامة. اسمه أسامة. نعم ولا صحيح أو ليست صحيح؟ نورا صحيح ولا ليست صحيح؟ الطالب الجديد الذي جاء أمس اسمه أسامة. صحيح أو ليس صحيح؟ صحيح. اثنين حامد في فصل أحمد. حامد في فصل أحمد. صحيح أو لا؟ ليست صحيح because Hamid is in Ali's class. نعم. هذا ليست صحيحة. ثلاثة المهجع الثامن غرفه أوسع. غرفه أوسع. Anybody want to try this one? المهجع الثامن, that is the dormitory, the 8th dormitory. غرفه, its rooms are أوسع. أوسع, its rooms are wider. Remember the word for wide is واسع. واسع. Remember آية الكرسي. وسع كرسي. وسع كرسي. كرسيه. So wasi'a means to be expansive or wide. Alright? So from wasi'a you get wasi'. Wasi' means to be wide or broad. Right? So that's the adjective. So from that you get the comparative, which is awsa'u. Awsa'u. Right? Just like we have kabir, kabir, and from kabir you get akbaru. Okay? And so on. Alright? So we have here المهجع الثامن غرفه أوسع. That the 8th dormitory, its rooms are wider. Is that correct or not correct? صحيح or ليست صحيح? The volunteers?
ليست صحيح.
ليست صحيح. نعم. لأن, because المهجع الخامس, the 5th dormitory, right? أحسن غرفه أوسع. So the 5th dormitory, its rooms are wider or larger. Okay. Last one, المهجع الثامن, the 8th dormitory, أبعد من مهجع الخامس. It is further. أبعد. Remember the word بعيد. بعيد means far. So أبعد means further. Okay, further. So the 8th dormitory is further than the 5th dormitory. Sahih or laysa sahih? Let's look back on top of the page here. Right? المهجع الثامن هو أبعد من مهجعكم. That is مهجع الخامس. So مهجع الثامن is further. It is further. Okay? So therefore this statement is what? Is sahih. It's correct. Right, number 4 here, it is a correct statement. Good. So these are the two questions, the two exercises on the comprehensive question. Any clarification, any comments? Anybody have any questions? نعم. So we're going to look at here now what we call ismu at-tafdil. So this is number 3. ثلاثة اقرأ الأمثلة الآتية لاسم التفضيل. We did this maybe the last time or the second to last time we met face to face in the masjid. Right? We spoke about ismu tafdil, which is a noun. They come among the nouns in Arabic language. Remember we said in Arabic you have 3 main types of words: nouns, verbs, and particles. Okay? So one type of noun is the ismu tafdil. In English we call it the comparative or the superlative. The superlative. Alright? So here the comparative, we're looking at firstly the comparative. And let's see how it is applied. We saw it in the passage, but we're going to see it here in more detail. Alright? Hashimun tawilun. Hashimun tawilun. Hashim is tall. Hashim is tall. Wahamidun. Wahamidun atwalu minhu. Wahamidun atwalu minhu. Right? So this is the comparative. Again, Aminatu saghiratun. Aminatu saghiratun. Amina is small. Right? So Aminatu saghiratun. Amina is small. Wa Zainabu asgharu minha. Wa Zainabu asgharu minha. And Zainab is smaller than her. Smaller than her. So we need to observe carefully here the construction of the ismu tafdil. Ismu tafdil. I have a board in the back there, but unfortunately the camera mightn't be a good enough resolution for me to write on the board, or else I could have try breaking it down on the board, right? But we can observe on the screen here, right? We can see it in the line here. We have the adjective tawilun, and we'll see how it is rearranged to get the ismu tafdil. So what happened here is that we drop off the y, the ya. Sorry, what's it in there?
Yeah.
Right. So you drop off the ya. You drop off the ya, right? And we add the aleph with the hamza on top in the beginning. See that, Nora? See that? Oh. Right. So you have the aleph with the hamza on top, and then the sukun goes onto the what would have been the first letter in the adjective. Now takes a sukun, and you put the hamza on top. So you get tawilun at walu. Tawilun at wa, not at we, at wa. So it takes a fatha in the middle letter. Alright? Tawilun at walu. So notice 2 things here. It doesn't take tanween, ismu tafdil, doesn't take a tanween, and we have to use it with the min. You have to use it with the min. Alright? So let me just go through some of the points in respect to comparative and superlative, right? So these are also adjectives, but they are adjectives of the comparative and the superlative degrees. So you have an adjective describing something, and then you bring it to the comparative degree where you compare. Again, comparative is comparing between 2 things, and superlative is where you compare the attributes or the characteristics of more than 2 things, right? More than 2 things or 2 persons, right? So as we said, the comparative. So if you want to take down these notes here, the comparative, 1, it doesn't take tanween and is followed by the min. So you have to use it with the min, okay? And it is the same. So the first point is that doesn't take tanween. Ismu tafdil doesn't take tanween. Secondly, it's followed by the min. That's the same. Everyone? Yeah, good enough. So firstly, it doesn't not take tanween. Secondly, it's followed by the min, right? Thirdly, is the same for masculine and feminine, as we can see here, right? The same pattern. Atwalu, asgaru. Atwalu, asgaru. Even though the masculine and feminine in the adjective by itself, see the adjective for the feminine takes the tarmabuta at the end, right? The adjective has to match the word it's describing. So tarmabuta, tarmabuta, right? But when it comes to the ismut of deal, it does not take that tarmabuta. It's the same pattern basically for masculine and feminine. Also, too, if you compare in between two groups of people or things, right? There's no plural for it. You use the same thing. So if it's a group of, like a group of students comparing to another group of students, then you would also use the same pattern. You wouldn't change the pattern for plural, all right?
So what is the pattern?
This same pattern we have here, right? Which is where, as I say, I should have really write it on the board. But are you seeing the cursor on the screen?
Yeah, but it's like afalu or something like that, right?
Right, so it'll be af-ah, yes. So the three things you have to remember. One, the ya is dropped out. A lot of the adjectives have that ya. Secondly, you add the aleph with the hamza, with a fatha on it. Sorry, four things, right? Five things actually. One, you drop out the ya. Two, you add the aleph with the hamza. Three, put a sukoon on what would have been the first letter here. So the ta now takes a sukoon. Right? Four, the middle letter takes the fatha now. And five, the last point is that it doesn't take tanween. Doesn't take tanween. So a single dhamma. So that's the pattern there. Alright? So the pattern will be af'alu. Af'alu. That's the pattern there. Alright? Now, so that is what we call in English is superlative. Right? Now, note here that the same pattern, I want you to pay attention to this, please. The same pattern is used for the superlative. Right? Now, those of you who like me and don't really know English grammar so much and English grammar terms, basically the comparative is where you're comparing between two things. So you say, he is taller than him, right? Adam is taller than Muhammad. Or Adam is taller than Ibrahim. Taller than. Okay, that's comparing between two, right? That's what we call the comparative in English, right? And the superlative is where you say, use the ist. So you say, Adam is the tallest. Adam is the tallest, right? So that is what we would call superlative in English, where you're comparing one person now to the rest, or comparing one person to more than two persons, right? So that is the superlative. So in Arabic, you're using the same pattern for the superlative. But how do we know the difference? Simple. With the comparative, where you're comparing between two, you always use the min after. So whether it's minhu, or min Ibrahim, or min Talib, ibnihi, or min abihi, whatever comes after the min. But the main thing that you have to remember is that the min is paired with this pattern. And that is what will give you the comparative, where you compare between two. Right? So the comparative always has the min in it. However, the superlative now, so there's a note you can write down. The same pattern is used for the superlative. The same pattern is used for the superlative, however, it is followed by a noun in the genitive case. It is followed by a noun in the genitive case. Right? The same pattern is used for the superlative. However, it is followed by a noun in the genitive case. For example, right? Ibrahimu ahsanu talibin fil madrasati. Ibrahim is the best student in the school. Ibrahimu ahsanu talibin fil madrasati. Right? Another example, al-azharu aqdamu jami'atin fil alam. Al-Azhar, that is a university in Cairo, Egypt, is the oldest university in the world, right? Fatimatu akbaru talibatin fi faslina. Fatima is the biggest student in our class. Biggest here could mean biggest in terms of age. Biggest in terms of age, okay? So akbar could refer to age as well. So this comparative and superlative is referred to as ismu tafdil or asma tafdil. Right? Any questions on that so far? All right, so with those few points or notes, we can go through this exercise here. رقم ثلاثة, number 3. اقرأ الأمثلة الآتية لاسم اسم تفضيل اسم التفضيل. Go to number 3. All right. هاشم طويل وحامد أطول منه. هاشم طويل وحامد أطول منه. Hashim is tall, but Hamid is taller than him. Taller than him. All right. آمنة صغيرة وزينب أصغر منها. Amina is small, but Zainab is smaller than her. As I said, this can refer to age as well. Okay? Alright? So it could mean as well, Amina is young, but Zainab is younger than her. Zainab is younger than her. Alright? Let's look at the exercise. هذا الكتاب. هذا الكتاب أسهل من ذلك من ذاك. هذا الكتاب أسهل من ذاك. Right, so هذا الكتاب means this book. Right? See there? This book. Yeah. This book, أسهل. What is the meaning of أسهل? Anybody?
Easy.
Easy, right? So easier, right? So sahlatun is or sahlun means easy in terms of levels of difficulty, right? So if it is easy, ashalu min dhaka. Dhaka is like dhalika, it's like that, all right, or that one. So this book is easier than that. This book is easier than that. Right? Next one. هذه السيارة. هذه السيارة أجمل من تلك. This car, هذه السيارة أجمل, is more beautiful than that. It's more beautiful than that, meaning that car. Okay, comparing two cars. All right. Or it could be comparing to something else too, besides a car. Right. Just a note here. If we were to say, now this is a common point of confusion for students, so please observe here. We say in here in the first and second questions here. First of all, you have had al-kitab. Secondly, you have had the hissayaratu. Right? If you were to say hada kitabun, it would definitely be different from saying hadal kitabu. Okay? So hada kitabun means this is a book. But here when we have the alif lam on the word kitab, we have hadal kitabu, which means this book. This book. Alright? Similarly, if you were to say hadihi sayaratun, it would mean this is a car. But if you say hadihis sayaratu, hadihis sayaratu, it would mean this car. This car. Okay? So it's important, this shows the importance of reading, especially when we have a sun letter. When we have a sun letter, the lam is silent in the alif lam. So when the lam is silent, it's more crucial to pronounce the sun letter, in this case the sin, with the shadda joining to the letter before. So if we were to say hadihi sayaratu, it's not the same as saying hadihis sayaratu. That shadda on the sun letter means that we have to join it. And this is important in the Quran as well, right? Where it is important that we read words in the Quran, in the ayat and so on, that has the alif lam in the beginning, and it starts with a sun letter. The alif lam is silent, so therefore we will have the shadda on that sun letter, and we have to read it as such, or else we change any meaning of that particular phrase or sentence in the Quran, and we don't want to do that, right? So remember here, هذه السيارة, هذه السيارة أجمل من تلك. This car is more beautiful than that. Right. Number 3. حمزة أكبر مني سنا. Right. Well, if you're stopping here because it's a Tanween Fatha, you will say sinna, sinna, with 2 beats. All right. Hamza to Hamza. So this is one of those rare masculine words that begin with that end with rather a tarmabuta. Okay, normally tarmabuta ends feminine words, but this is one of the rare words that are masculine and ends with a tarmabuta. All right, so Hamzatu akbaru minni sinna or sinnan. So what does that mean? Hamza is bigger than me. Okay, remember the pronoun for mutakalim, the person who is speaking, is the ya. All right. Again, you have the min there, so the min joined to the ya, you get minni. Right. So Hamza is bigger than me. Sinnan or sinna means age, in age. All right. Sin can also mean a tooth. The plural of sin, meaning tooth, is asnan. Asnan. Alright? And here sinna means age, age-wise, right? So here you have Hamza to akbaru minni sinnan. Hamza is older than me, basically. Hamza is older than me. Next one. Ha'ula'i at-tullabu ahsanu min ulaika. Ha'ula'i at-tullabu ahsanu min ulaika. These students are better than those. These students are better than those. Going again. بيتي أبعد عن المدرسة من بيتك. Good. Question here. We said the comparative has to be followed by min. Is it comparative here in the sentence? It's not followed by min. Is it comparative? Nora? It's not comparative. Last did you say it's comparative? Not comparative. It's comparative. Why?
Because we have min.
But you may not have to. But have a min. What do you mean is? Further down, right? So it is comparative. It is comparative. Even though the min is not immediately after here, even though the min in this question number 5, the min which we said must follow the comparative, it follows it, but it's not immediately following. See? So you have a little thing in the middle here, and then you have the min. So this means بيتي أبعد عن المدرسة من بيتك. That my house is further from the school than your house. Okay? So this is what this means. So it's a brief explanatory phrase in the middle here, but the comparison really is between baiti wa baituk. Baiti abadu min baituka, min baitika. Baiti abadu min baitika. My house is further than your house. What were they comparing it to? Or from? From the school, in madrasati. Anil madrasati, sorry. Alright, next one. هو أصغر مني سنا or sinna. هو أصغر مني سنا. He is younger than me, or he is smaller than me in age. Meaning what? He is younger than me. Sorry, minna, younger than us. Right? هو أصغر منا سنا. He is younger than us in age. Right? خطي أحسن من خطك. My handwriting is better than your handwriting. هذا الشارع أنظف من ذلك. هذا الشارع أنظف من ذلك. This street is cleaner. You know the word نظيف. نظيف is the adjective meaning clean. So therefore we have the comparative here. The same pattern again, the أفعل. You get أنظف. أنظف من ذلك. This street is cleaner than that street. Or that. It's cleaner than that. اللبن أحسن من الشاي. من الشاي. اللبن أحسن من الشاي. The milk or milk is better than chai. What is chai? Anybody know what chai? Chai. What is chai? Chai is chai, right? Chai is tea. So milk is better than tea. هذه الساعة أرخص من تلك. هذه الساعة أرخص من تلك. Right? Anybody want to guess what is أرخص? From the 2 lessons before. رخيص means cheap. So أرخص means cheaper. Right? Cheaper than that. So this watch is cheaper than that. Right. So you have some homework here. And inshallah, you can try this at home. كون جملا من كلمات الآتية مستعملا اسم التفضيل. So form sentences using the following words, or form sentences from the following words using the ism tafdil. So you have Hashimun, you have Tawilun, and you have Uthmanun, or Uthmanu. Right? So Hashimun طويل عثمان. Right? So straightforward, right? So we have a adjective here. How do we form the ismu tafdil? We use the pattern af'alu. So this will be atwalu. Atwalu. So basically we form the sentence Hashimun atwalu, and we must put in the min to make it comparative. So you have to put in the min. Hashimun atwalu min Uthman. Uthmana. Uthmana. Right? Because it's mamnu min asaf. القاهرة أكبر من 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 الرياض. من الرياض. Cairo is bigger than Riyadh. Cairo is bigger than Riyadh. So it's straightforward here. You're just writing in this here, taking this adjective in the middle here and forming it through the pattern af'alu, af'alu. So atwalu, akbaru, andafu, ashalu, and so on. And form the patterns, and don't forget to add the min after the ismu tafdil. Alright? So this homework here, inshallah ta'ala, you all can present it next week from 1 to 10. Take turns doing those next week, inshallah ta'ala. Any questions so far? Ismu tafdil, comparative. This is some good exercises here to give us practice. Please attempt it. Please attempt it. Again, there's some more exercises here. Number 5, اقرأ الأمثلة ثم حول الجمل الآتية عن غرارها مستعملا اسم تفضيل. Alright? So you have to read the following examples and basically change in the sentence as they show you there. Alright? So in this case, they form what you would say in English is the superlative, right? Let's look at it here. Muhammadun talibun hasanun. Muhammadun talibun hasanun. So here we are saying Muhammad is a student. Muhammad is what? Nora? Read it from there. Sure. Muhammadun talibun hasanun. Muhammadun ahsanu taliban fil fasli. Muhammadun ahsanu taliban fil fasli. So we see in here, you have the phrase Muhammad is a good student. Talibun hasanun is a good student. We're taking the word hasanun and we putting it in the pattern af'alu. So we get in ahsanu. But we want to make the superlative. We want to make it superlative. So we don't use min. We don't use min because you use min for comparative when you're comparing two things. Alright? But here we are using the superlative. So we said in the superlative, you have to follow it up by a noun in the genitive case. So therefore we have here Muhammadun ahsanu talibin fil fasli. Muhammad is the best student in the class, right? هذا بيت جميل. هذا بيت جميل. Right? This is a beautiful house. This is a beautiful house. So let's see how they change it to the superlative. We have here هذا أجمل بيت. Notice here is genitive. It takes the tanwin kasra. في الشارع. This is the most beautiful house in the street. Right? Aminatu, next one. Aminatu طالبة صغيرة. Aminatu طالبة صغيرة. Aminatu أصغر طالبة في المدرسة. Amina is the smallest student in the school. Right? So we have the exercise here. to go through. هذه غرفة صغيرة. هذه غرفة صغيرة. So we're going to change it up and we have to put the pattern صغيرة to the pattern أفعل, which should be أصغر. So you would say هذه غرفة أصغر. Oh, sorry. هذه أصغر غرفة في بيتنا. So you have the end given to you here, right? So put the ism tafdil in front of the noun because this is the superlative we are using, right? So say هذه أصغر غرفة في بيتنا. You all with me? Anybody lost? Anybody need a further explanation? So we did the comparative. Now this exercise looks at the superlative, right? Who wants to attempt the next one? All right. Have anybody? How about Zakaria or Yahya? Zainab, Salma, Afsana? Anybody there? Sumaya? What Sa'id? أين سعيد؟
ياسر أفقر رجلا في قريتنا.
Right. So Yasirun, right? أفطر رجل في قريتنا. So Yasir is the poorest man in our village. Okay, what about number 2? We want to try number 2?
Bilalan ahsan no jarin fi hayina.
Good. Ahsan. Bilal is the best neighbor in our neighborhood or our district. Right? Arba'ah, number 4. Shukran jazakumullahu khairan. Anybody else want to volunteer? هذه ساعة رخيصة. هذه ساعة رخيصة. This is a cheap watch. How are we going to change that up now? We would say هذه أرخص. هذه أرخص ساعة في السوق. في السوق. Remember, please remember, whether it is masculine or feminine, it takes the same pattern. أفعل. أفعل. So رخيصة will become أرخص. No tarabuta at the end there. Okay? So هذه أرخص ساعة في في السوق. في السوق. نعم. أين الإمام؟ هذا درس سهل. هذا درس سهل. Change it up, you would say هذا أسهل درس في الكتاب. هذا أسهل درس في الكتاب. نعم. Next one. الدكتور زكريا طبيب شهير. الدكتور زكريا طبيب شهير. أين زكريا؟ أجب. أين زكريا؟ الدكتور زكريا. الدكتور زكريا.
الدكتور أشهر زكريا طبيب في بلدنا.
نعم. أحسنت. So only thing we put Zakaria with doctor, right? So this is, treat this as one phrase. So you would say الدكتور زكريا أشهر طبيب في بلدنا. أحسنت. زكريا الدكتور. نعم. Next one. الأزهر جامعة قديمة. الأزهر جامعة قديمة. نعم. أين سمية؟ موجودة. Right, so we would say Al-Azharu أقدم جامعة في العالم. في العالم. Okay, Al-Azhar is the name of a university in Cairo. So they're saying here Al-Azhar is the oldest university في العالم, in the world. Alright, you know, anybody know Surah Fatiha? You know Surah Fatiha? Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. So Alameen is a plural of Alam. Alam. You see there anything? Al-Alam. Al-Alam means the world. The world. Okay, so in Surah Fatiha, when we say Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, we are saying all praise is due to Allah, Lord of all the worlds. Plural of world is worlds, right? So Al-Alameen. So here we have Al-Azharu Jami'atu, Al-Azharu Aqdamu Jami'atin fil Alam. Okay, fil Alami. Last one, Al-Ustadhu Nu'manu Mudarrisun Hasanun. Al-Ustadhu Nu'manu Mudarrisun Hasanun. Ustad Nu'man is a good teacher. Yes, Noor, you want to try that one? Quickly. Change that now. Nu'manu. الأستاذ نعمان أحسن مدرس في المدرسة. نعم. 9. ذلك درس صعب. ذلك درس صعب. That lesson is difficult. So we change that, we say ذلك أصعب درس في الكتاب. ذلك أصعب درس في الكتاب. Last one, هذا فصل واسع. This is a wide or expansive class. And we change it up, we say هذا أوسع فصل في الكلية, in the faculty. All right. So it is after 8 o'clock now. So we went through basically the comparative and the superlative in terms of how it is applied, and how it is used, right? We have some exercises here. We have homework, inshallah ta'ala. I encourage all of you to attempt it. It's very, very straightforward. Just a matter of writing back these words here. So the homework is number 4. You're writing back the words and you're changing the adjective in the middle there. Changing the adjective in the middle to the comparative. Notice here is comparative we're doing, right? So with the comparative, remember, we have to use the pattern, yes, af'alu, atwalu, akbaru, and rafu, and so on, but don't forget to put the min. You have to put in the min after it. All right? Good. Any questions, clarifications, or comments before we close off today? Inshallah ta'ala. Next week we will continue. This is a pretty long lesson, so we have a couple other concepts to go through before we finish this chapter, inshallah ta'ala. Questions? Announcement, Imam?
Alhamdulillah, subhanallah, we good. We just wait and watch it and see how things going and continue. Appreciate the efforts people making to come to the class.